Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I am really excited to be filming this because today I'm going to be recreating SZA's makeup. I just absolutely love her nose contour and her like big doughy eyes and lips, and the skin just always looks so flawless. And I've been really inspired because I watched One of Them Days recently, and I've just been seeing a lot of interviews of SZA and Keke Palmer, and I've just been like obsessed with the both of them recently. So I thought, why not do a SZA recreation? Also, before I jump right into the video, I did just want to say I've tweaked my camera a little bit and fix some of the white balance settings because I know the past two videos have been looking very warm and kind of orangey. Hopefully it's a little bit better now, and if not, then I'm just gonna keep on improving as we go with every video. I'm using the McGrath Labs foundation in the shade Light Medium 10. I've already went ahead and primed my face before filming just because it's gonna get repetitive the more I do that. And you guys already know that the iconic London Underglow Blurring Primer is my go-to. I'm very much aware that this foundation is a little bit lighter than me, but once we put on all my other products, it does come together. She doesn't have an insanely bright under eye. It is definitely lighter, so I'm using the Kosas color corrector in the shade Illusion. This is a nice peachy color corrector because I also do notice that her under eyes definitely lean more on that like peachy bright than that like pinky cool tone bright. I have really been obsessed with these Kosas color correctors ever since they sent them to me. I have not stopped using them. I think the formula is just really beautiful, and they brighten up and correct my under eyes really nicely. And just like every other video, I'm contouring with the Milk Makeup Sculpt Stick. This time I'm kind of doing this swooping motion because I do notice that her cheeks do look really full, although still very lifted. And I'm going to snatch up my jawline and of course her nose contour. We're going to really like precision contour later on with powder contour. So for now, I'm kind of just laying down that base with the cream contour. I do notice that her complexion definitely leans more on that warmer bronzy side than a like cool tone kind of like sculpted vibe. So I'm going in with my Saie Sunmelt Cream Bronzer, and I'm not really over bronzing, but I am loading up my brush a lot more than I usually would. I really like her blush because her blush is kind of like unique to me. It's definitely not like the blush that we're used to seeing nowadays. It is a pop of peach, but it's not so bright and poppy. It's like that neutral peachy flesh. So the blushes that I find perfect for that look are the Rhode freckle blushes as well as the Haus Labs Glassy Pomelo. The Rhode blush is more of a neutral, warm, kind of natural peach, while the Haus Labs is a poppy peach. And so by mixing these two, it's gonna give me one, a really good, nice balance and dimension, but then also kind of have the perfect mixture in color. My camera stopped recording, but I just wanted to say that I use my Haus Labs concealers in shade 12 and 22. And now I'm setting my face with the Fenty Invisimatte powder. I'm really just setting my face with this first so that the loose setting powder doesn't like cling and get cakey or weird. I feel like my skin is so reflective right now that on camera it makes me look so white. I'm going to reinforce that warmth from the bronzer with my Charlotte Tilbury powder bronzer, and this one's in the shade 3 Tan. Not gonna lie, I kind of used to hate this bronzer because I don't know, I always thought it was patchy and over pigmented. However, now I've learned how to like actually use it. I've only been doing one tap and tapping off a lot of it, and I feel like when it's applied very lightly or in light layers, it bronzes up my skin really nicely, and the blur and like kind of like the pigment to it is really nice and beautiful. And I feel like you guys already know by now, but I'm using my Kaleidos contour palette. Whenever it comes to contours, I really stick to what I like. Like I don't really switch it up with contours because I find that not a lot of brands can really do a contour properly, but I just feel like Kaleidos and Milk Makeup make really true cool tone contours that are also really pigmented and blendable. Now usually I really don't contour on camera, and if I do, it's sped up, but because her nose contour is so quintessential to her makeup look, I will be showing you how I'm gonna do it. I'm using a tapered brush like this one, and I'm dipping into that Kaleidos contour palette again, and I'm really focusing on the bulbous like kind of tip part of the nose because her nose contour is very much heavily on that. It's very round, but at the same time super upturned and lifted. You kind of want to concentrate it in the center bottom right here, but then still diffuse it outwards. This is gonna give that nice lifted effect, but then also really blend it out and making sure it's not super harsh. And now I'm pretty much doing the same thing on the top of the tip. So I'm just going to draw this horizontal line, and then for the nose bridge and like the side of the nose, you want to start in the front of your brow, almost kind of where the socket is, where your eye and your brow meet, and then you're going to start to like blend it downwards into the girl, why can't I think, into the nose tip that we just did. And I know it looks extremely harsh right now, so what I'm doing is I'm taking my Fenty Invisimatte powder once again, and I'm going to lightly kind of just dust over this before we bake. This is gonna help me like diffuse the edges a bit more, even though we still want to keep the contour for the nose kind of harsh like this, because I feel like that's what her nose contour looks like in like a good way though. And then for blush, I'm using my REM Beauty blush in the shade Peach Planet. I like this blush a lot. It's similar to my Haus Labs blush in the sense that like even though it is a matte powder blush, it still has like a nice satin finish to it, and then it kind of feels hydrating on the skin. Like it doesn't feel dry and powdery and patchy. I'm setting my under eyes and the rest of my face with this fluffy powder brush and the Makeup by Mario powder. I don't want to use a powder puff yet. I'm saving that for when we bake with the One Size Peach powder. The way we're gonna make this nose contour really pop is by reverse contouring our nose. Pretty much all I'm doing is taking that One Size Ultra Peach powder. This is gonna be amazing for this because number one, like I said, she has that more peachy undertone under her eyes, and it's also gonna match the blush really nicely. And you're just going to hug the powder puff against the edge of your nose. For the center of my nose, I'm taking the One Size Translucent, and I'm basically highlighting the areas that we're gonna highlight later with the powder. I'm taking that One Size Translucent on the other parts of my face to really kind of like snatch and bake it as well. And there's nothing really special about her brows, so I wanna do that off camera. And like many MEA would say, we're back and the brows are filled. And now we're gonna work on the eyeshadow. Her eyeshadow doesn't really have anything extravagant going on, but it is really nice and snatched. I feel like there's more of an emphasis on the lashes and liner. However, throughout the many interviews that I've been watching of her recently, I do notice that she does like a matte kind of like brown on the outskirts, and then in the inside it's a nice sparkly kind of scattered glitter. It's not necessarily brighter. I feel like it really is just like one or two shades and then that pop of glitter. So before I go in with that Pat McGrath palette, I'm gonna use that Charlotte Tilbury bronzer that I used earlier to tie in those bronzy tones and make sure that this look looks very cohesive and kind of put together. And now I'm taking this like medium deep brown shade from that Pat McGrath palette and really focusing it on the out and center of my eye to kind of build that like snatch and transition. I'm taking a little bit more of the One Size Ultra Peach powder. This is going to help act as like a net to catch any of the sparkly fallout that we're about to put. And I'm also going to bring it up. It's gonna help really lift and snatch and sharpen that eyeshadow that we just did. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take whatever's left on that powder puff from baking, and I'm going to lightly just put it in that inner corner lid of the eye. It's gonna help blur and diffuse that part of the eye. I'm taking the shimmery gold shade from that Pat McGrath palette, and I'm putting this all over kind of like the center and inner lid. I'm a huge fan of Pat McGrath's like shimmers because they almost have a translucent base, so it still lets like the eyeshadow underneath peek through them, but the twinkle and sparkle that it gives the eye is like really beautiful. Then I'm taking that somewhat white pearly shimmer, and I'm really focusing this on the inner lid and like the inner corner, so it's gonna add more dimension and more like sparse glitter. I'm gonna adapt the look a little bit to match my complexion a little better. So I'm using this brown liquid liner from NYX instead of a super like pitch black. I find that like pitch black can look really harsh on me sometimes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line my eyes with this, and then after that I'm going to go in with a black eyeshadow to kind of like set it so it'll be more of a soft black. I'm gonna pop on some lashes off camera. I'm using the style Nude Blazer from Kiss. I applied lashes and I put like maybe 3 coats of mascara on because I noticed that her lashes are like really fluffy and I don't have lashes that are that fluffy, so I bulked them up a bit, and then I even like lined my waterline just the tiniest bit to like blend the lashes a little bit better together. And later on, I'm gonna use my tweezer again and kind of pinch them closer. Okay, all I'm gonna do now is pretty much reinforce some of the bronzer because I feel like it got eaten up, and also because I feel like now that I can see how like impactful the eyes are, I can go in with a lot more cheek products. I'm also gonna throw some of that bronzer on my lower lash line. I very rarely put eyeshadow on my lower lash line, but I think today it was called for because of how heavy the top of my eyes are. And I'm gonna add some brightness so that it kind of brightens up my under eye a little bit more and add some contrast between the lower lash line shadow and my actual under eye. I'm also adding a little bit more blush just to add a little more life and color to my face because low-key the brightening powder and the One Size powder, like I feel like it made my face look really flat. I'm also gonna use that brightening powder from the Kaleidos palette as a matte highlighter. And now it's time for the lip combo. Her lips are like really plump, so I'm going to contour my lips with the MAC Stone lip pencil first. I'm gonna lightly powder over my lips to tone down the coolness of it so it's not so in my face. And like the deepest lip liner, like brown lip liner that I have right now is Glossier Buff, so this is what I'll use. And then she has like a really pinky, light, almost lavender center, so I'm taking this AboutFace eye paint and I'm taking it on an eyeshadow brush and lightly feathering it in the center of my lips. And then to top this off, I'm using my Fenty Fussy because this is gonna make it pull more pinky like hers. And I'm also gonna use a little bit of the Haus Labs lip glaze in Macaron. And I want to add the tiniest pop of pink on the cheeks. I'm taking Rare Beauty in the shade Happy. This is the powder blush. And it's also going to have some radiance. It's very sheer. I just want to like make it pull a little bit more pink. And for a highlighter, there's only one highlighter that I know that will like make your nose pop as much as hers, and it's this Pat McGrath highlight I have from the Bridgerton palette, and it is in the shade Venus Nectar. And this highlight is so like high shine and glossy. I love it a lot. It also has a hint of peachiness, which is perfect for like the tones of this look. And lastly, I'm just taking a black eyeshadow, like I said earlier, to make the liner a bit more intense. One thing that I noticed about her eyes is that she usually has like this really bright inner corner highlight, and so instead of actually using a highlighter shade, I'm taking this white shade from the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 palette, and it's doing a really good job at like brightening that inner corner. And this is the finished look. I look really glammed right now. I haven't done a look this like glam and this like heavy. The lashes, the nose, and the lips really pulled it together. But thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, give this video a like and subscribe to me. I will be posting every Tuesdays and Thursdays now at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.